Good morning, everybody. This is a special weekend edition of Cliff London Uncensored, and I just wanted to talk to you, somebody, just kind of a little event. You know me, I'm not gonna get too into the I try not to get too into the negative aspect, but I just had the most irritating Facebook conversation with the most irritating leftist, and it's a shame too because he actually was an old mentor of mine in high school. He actually taught me how to play drums, and it was some of the best moments of my life. So I don't really hate the guy, but I had to tell him to go fuck himself today, because I don't. He's one. He's just one of those white folk. Now let's keep in mind, I'm not a Democrat, I'm not a Republican, I'm not a conservative, I'm not a liberal, I'm not a libertarian. Uh, I'm just a man, I'm just an American. And though I am neither of those, I do not align myself with any of those political parties. I am proud to be an American citizen and consider myself an American citizen. And yes, I do agree with some left things and I agree with some right things. The modern incarnation of the liberal slash leftist is crazy. So, just want to make that clear. But anyway, this guy, I'm not going to say his name, he's done a lot. He's a great musician. He's been to Africa. He's actually had, African people dub him some kind of guru and shit. And because of this guy has developed this inflamed sense of superiority about himself. And he actually thinks that he can't deal with the fact that, I look at things as if, I made a comment that Africans sold blacks to America, and I was a little bit off, but people often speak in generality to save time. And this guy was like, well, you were wrong. It was actually the British. And I'm like, well, you know what I mean? The point is that I'm saying that why my question was why should blacks basically claim to be African American, especially since that was some bullshit that was made up by Jesse Jackson and those clowns. But why should blacks be so beholden in claiming Africa when Africa sold black folk to white folk back in the day? And I'm not harping on anybody in particular, I'm just talking here. And so I'm like, why shouldn't my point was like, why shouldn't we be proud to be Americans? I mean, the journey here may have been rough and the time may have been rough, but we're here and it's our home, And sarcastically, I was like, fuck Africa, And so I spent this time going into a back and forth conversation with this dude, and finally it ended with me telling this dude, like, listen, no matter what, so just because some old slave trading ass Africans told you your shit don't stink, don't mean you have to tell me, you have to talk to me in a certain way. Because see, the point is, in a nutshell, and I'm going to move on to a different topic, is that no matter how righteous, no matter how great this guy thinks he is because he spent all this time in Africa, he doesn't even live in America. Now, I don't know how long it's been since he lived in America, but he has all these opinions about blacks, about the police. He doesn't even live in America. Hasn't for years. Anyway. But my point is that at the end of everything, he still thought, he couldn't deal with the fact that me, as a black person, or as he would say, African American, which I've always found condescending, he couldn't deal with I was thinking the way I was thinking. Basically, my thoughts weren't what he thought I should think as a anointed African white man. So eventually he thought he could talk some shit, so I had to put him in his place, tell him to go fuck himself. Now, it may or may not have ended our friendship. I mean, I guess that's the way things go sometimes. I wish it didn't have to be that way, but after he started getting a little bit just plain disrespectful, I had to tell the guy about himself, because it was just like, well, number one, I'm not a kid anymore, sir. Number two, I'm not stupid, and I know when I'm being subtly insulted. But anyway, that's that irritating leftist stuff. They didn't used to be that way. They just used to be cool, laid back kind of people. Now they're these weird green hair, fucking, I'm a woman one day, I'm a man the next, and you gotta call me thee, them, him, and we're gonna call you some weird shit called sis. You know, but you can't say anything about that. But you have to remember, foreigner, it's just crazy. It used to not be that way. But also, that being aside, thank you for sticking with the video that long. But I read something, I don't know if you all read the Epoch Times, but the Epoch Times is a wonderful, bias-free news source. It criticizes everybody. It tells the straight up truth. It ain't like no MSNBC or nothing like that, no CNN, no lamestream media, just straight up facts from great journalists with a great writing style. It's called Epoch Times. And in the Epoch Times, I read that Joe the pervert Biden tried to persuade Facebook to ban conservative and Republican media. Now, I know there might be a lot of left-leaning out there that's probably like good, because you might think that all conservatives and all conservatives and Republicans are racist, but it's just not true. And also, I think everybody should be given a shot. And I also think that people, you shouldn't crowd your whole soul and being in the guise of a political ideology. That shouldn't be your emphasis of your personality. Because most of the time people vote with their wallet anyway, so it really shouldn't be as venomous as it is out there with these things. Because but anyway, my point is that this kind of brings me to my point about how I believe the Democratic Party is bad for America. And I'm not endorsing Republican or conservatism, but you kind of know what you're getting with them. They've been as they have always been. And actually, no, I redact that. They haven't been as they've always been. They have seemed, in my eyes, to change and evolve and become more than the stereotype that I was raised with. The stereotype that I was raised with was that, basically, that, I will quote my father verbatim, boy, them Republicans and them conservatives don't give a shit about black people. Now, that was about 30 years ago. But that's what, until maybe about a couple of years ago, that I pretty much thought. I had no, hadn't done any research. But of course, back then, before you could just bust open your phone, you were looking through books and blowing dust off, literally. Yeah, anyways, Joe Biden tried to basically but tried to stop the speech. And what that says to me is that they're scared. They're scared because people are waking up to their shit. People are waking up to the fact that, well, not all, but they should wake up to the fact quicker, that basically both sides in this, we're never going to be able to trust either one of them completely and totally until big money is out of politics. You just can't. Whether you be Democrat, Republican, you really can't. And these people that say this thing, well, it's the lesser of two evils, it's a cop out. What we need to have is more than just these two voices, because they're making it so that so that you have to vote for one of them, and they're supposed to work for us. These people are okaying money for that, okaying money for this. It's all taxpayer money. It's almost like we're hookers, and they're like, give that money to Big Daddy. You better have that money for Big Daddy, so you can give it to everybody else, so they can go on vacations and ride around in limos. They shouldn't even look like that. You have all these people out here starving and everything, and running low on money for this COVID-19, and it was the Democrats who held up the little pathetic ass $1,200 stipend. It was them that held that back so they could put in things that they want. It was basically like, they're like, oh, so you're giving out money, wait, can we get some of that? And they also allocated a small amount for themselves to have a raise. Now, when you think about these shit ass people like Lori Lightfoot, Ilhan Omar, I'm gonna say it twice, Lori Lightfoot, Ilhan Omar, Ayanna Presley, or Kamala, the thugged out Ugandan nightmare, or Ayanna Presley, fucking Khadija from Set It Off, you idiot. I'm saying Kamala Harris, not Kamala Harris, Ayanna Presley, Khadija from Set It Off. That is perfect. But anyway, all these people, they're just as screwed up as the same things that they say about the right. And that's one reason why this channel exists, because I'm hoping with me and the rest of the Uncensored crew that maybe together we can be the start of a real change, a real movement for all Americans of all different shades, all different colors. It's okay. America is great. We take in more immigrants than anybody else. We give more foreign aid anywhere in the world. Someone gets hurt. If you're running from a dictator, if your government's bad, we're there to help you out. We're there to come and kick ass, and we're there to blow shit up. And yet the rest of these people still talk shit about this country. Blacks that live here still talk shit about this country. And you ain't going back to Africa. You ain't from Africa. You're from here. The truth is, most of us probably wouldn't last a week if we ever got lost out of the tourist section. We would probably get chopped up by a child soldier or some shit. I'm kind of joking. I've never been, and that's the point. And another thing I gotta address is, I'm not going to sit up here and support this bullshit defund police. I'm not one of those goody-goody guys in Blue Lives Matter, except it does matter. But I'm just saying I'm not all rah-rah, because basically I see these are normal people. If you throw in bottles at them and shit, they're gonna react. But you know what else? If you know this shit about the police department, and I'm not saying that it's what certain people say is true. I'm just saying that let's say if you think that about the police department, if you think that about the justice system, well, the justice system itself is biased, but that's another video, and it's also not every white person's fault. But again, back on topic here, the only thing that's left to do now is resist. And I don't mean resist in a violent way. I just mean that this is a time where we have all these politicians up there, and we really can't trust either of them. I mean, you find out lies about both. I mean, it's really dangerous that Joe Biden tried to basically get Facebook to bar certain ideologies. Can't you see that if something like that's allowed pretty soon, they'll deny other things? And that's pretty un-American. Kind of like one of them communism seeds. I don't know, it just makes no sense to me, everybody. It's all, I almost feel like these Democrats, well, kind of all of them, everybody. See, it's some of these people that are out there protesting, it's their first rodeo. And I have to remember that for some of them, they are acting like this is the movement of the century of their life. Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. I'm putting a sticker on my Facebook. I'm righteous and I'm white and I give a shit. But I have to remind myself not to be so hard on them, because if they're 25 or 30, this is their first rodeo. And so it may not be familiar to them, but for me, it's fucking deja vu. Oh shit, it's election time. Wait for it. Wait for it. It's election time. Bing! Here comes the racism. They get us all upset and fighting against one another so that we can believe this country is terrible. And then they'll say Orange Man's fault, because we live in Trump's America. It's Orange Man's fault that the world is like this. But it wasn't. Well, whose fault was it back when the whole Rodney King shit? Trayvon Martin Obama was in office, but they didn't say, and Obama's America, you know. And let me tell you this, Zimmerman was actually Hispanic, but they let the black-white narrative stand. Why? They let the black-white narrative stand because racism sells. Bitch-ass Al Sharpton could come out and do a speech, probably get kicked down with a couple mil. Okay? Shitty-ass Black Lives Matter come out, march, sell some t-shirts and shit. You know, get kicked down. By the way, they get money from a lot of companies, and none of that shit goes to black folk. Just saying, so all you people out there, especially you fucking pro-blacks that are sucking that Black Lives Matter dick, just think about that. Just think about that, right? Just think about that when you're out there marching for exactly what you're marching for and who they are, you know. But you won't, because a lot of you base your identity on that. Like if you didn't have the you know, the so-called, like, you know, the level of oppression that you guys think, you know, I'm not saying that it doesn't exist, but it's not, the world's not the same as it was in the 60s, and these tropes and this template that they're putting out there, this template is damaging the country, and it's keeping us from evolving, because we were better. We were getting better. You know, and then they start censoring the things that made us better, like being able to laugh. You know, there are gay people out there that think they should never have to feel the pain of discrimination, that they should be immune from it. And I just want to say that, you know what, there's always going to be prejudice, and there's always going to be racism, because there's always going to be humans, and we are fallible. We are not perfect. So these things are always going to exist. And so it's weird when you want to find someone for calling you a name, or have some impossibly weird standard. It starts with us, everybody. It starts with me. It starts with you. It starts with us, and basically what we can do is just live right and really push for a third voice or a fourth voice or 5 or 6 different voices, because as of now, I just don't trust any of them. I especially don't trust, I'm sorry everybody, that's my wife, yeah. But anyway, you know, not only do I not trust them, but I'm very apprehensive. You know what I mean? Because they just keep it going. You know, George Floyd's funeral was a while ago. Well, I know there was 3 of them, but they're keeping this going. As long as they keep the racism going, they can sell this narrative. We're in Trump's America, vote Biden, except Biden wants to take your fucking rights away and make you speak how he wants to speak, or you can't post on Facebook. And let's not forget the man's famous line, vote for his old wrinkled up ass and you ain't black. See, that's what I'm saying. You know, he's another one, just like the shithead pompous former mentor of mine on Facebook, you know, that, you know, as an old crotchety white dude, he decided that if you don't vote for him, that you ain't black enough. And you know what? It ain't really his fault he says shit like that, because blacks keep putting people like that in office. So he was sort of right, but it was bullshit. And I tell you what's even more bullshit, let 45 say some shit like that. You know, they be outside the White House crying, talking about, he said stuff to hurt my feelings as a black person. It make me feel like I'm back into slavery in the 60s. Oh, wade in the water, wade in the water. That's how they acting right now. You see all them weird ass athletes kneeling down the ground talking about, stop killing us, stop killing us. Man, shut the fuck up. They probably went home to a personal chef, made him some fucking vegan shit. Something my wife would eat with no taste. She's doing great, by the way. All glowing and shit with my young warrior about to burst into the world. And speaking of bursting into the world, I'm about to burst into destiny and get that shit going on. It is Sunday, the last day of my weekend, and my wife is going to work. I love her, but I will enjoy the time. I love you guys. Thank you for all the new subscribers. It is up to 65. Hopefully by the end of the month or next month I can get it up to 100. That would be very, 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 very awesome. So if you've liked what you heard today, or if you've liked any of the other videos, or if you just like me, help a brother out, please rate the video, comment, smash that subscribe button. Let's keep the Cliff London Uncensored crew. Let's grow it. Let's get it going. And let's try to change the world one person at a time. This is Cliff London Uncensored. There is no fate but what we make for ourselves. Fuck Joe Biden. Fuck Lori Lightfoot. And I will talk to you guys on Monday. Peace.